Saltwater Guide, Captain Dave Hansen. We're up here on the bow of the boat today to show you about fishing the surface iron. Just like I promised you on our video last week, we're covering every aspect of yellowtail fishing. So last week we covered fishing the yo-yo iron. If you didn't see the video last week, I gotta put on my glass, can't stand the sun. If you didn't see the video last week, go back and look at it. That's for yo-yoing the iron. Today we're showing you how to fish the surface iron, gang. Now, if I only had one surface iron to use, it would always be the Wounded Warrior. This is one of my very most Tatty 45, super lightweight. The lure weighs less than an ounce. This is super lightweight. That's the key to surface iron. Plus, you want it to kick. You want it to kick when it's swimming. You want it to kick. It's always filming. Just touch the main screen. It'll come right back on. You want the jig, the surface iron to kick back and forth as you wind. It's not about winding fast like it is yo-yoing the iron. It's about a steady crank, maybe a medium speed if you will, or slow now that our reels have such a high gear ratio. But the key to the surface iron is when you get a bite, you do not want to swing on it. You just want to crank the fish onto the lure. So we're going to talk about all that as we go here. We're going to show you every aspect of surface iron fishing. But listen, gang, if this looks interesting and any of this stuff makes sense, or you want more information about what we're talking about, all you have to do is go over to my website, yoursaltwaterguide.com. On there, I have over 350 how-to videos for anything from operating your boat to fishing the surface iron to catching big bluefin on the kite. We cover everything fishing over on the website at yoursaltwaterguide.com. Yeah, it's a subscription-based business, but it's a whopping $4.99. That's all it costs to be a member. But today we're talking surface iron. This is the Wounded Warrior, this avocado green cover with the little red on the tail. This thing is deadly. What eats this? Yellowtail love this lure. Calico bass love this lure. Big white sea bass love this lure. Yellowfin tuna love this lure when you're skipping it. We'll talk about skipping a jig later. Yeah, we're using our PTO fighting grip rod today. We're gonna have a whole video series on how this rod works, and this is the future of fishing. But today we're talking surface iron. So here's how you do it, gang. You get your lure. We got a lot of boats driving by. Unfortunately, if I cast right now, I'm gonna catch Cabo sailing. So we'll wait just a second for them to slide by us here, and we'll show you how this works. When you cast, as Chris comes closer to the reel as I cast, you're gonna see, you let it rest, the spool rest on one side of the reel, and that'll be resting on one bearing. You're gonna get a much farther cast. So once the lure hits the water, we're in gear, tip down, point it at the water. Never point your tip at the sky, always point the tip of your rod at the water. Slow to medium speed wind, guiding the line as you go. As you're winding the lure is gonna kick back and forth like this. You're gonna see the kick as Chris focuses on the tip of the rod. You can actually see the tip as it's kicking back and forth, and you know that your lure's working properly. Then you can also look out there and you can see the lure kicking. Hold on, we're gonna throw it back out. Got a couple boats coming. As we slowly wind it in, always have the tip of the rod pointed at the water. You'll feel the kick. You'll know you're going the right speed as it's kicking. It's a feel type of thing if you can't see the lure. And then I can see the lure coming out there. It's kicking back and forth. It looks just like a... You can see it kicking. Too high out of the water here. Let's see if we can come down the side, show you the kick of the lure here. Maybe Chris can film right there. I'll cast it out here and we'll see how we can show you the kick of this lure. As the lure comes in, we'll try to focus right on the lure and show you the kicking action of a surface iron. And that that's how you want that surface iron to work. You want to see that kicking action as it's going through the water. It's kicking. See how it kicks right there? That's the key. And then when you cast, look, when you cast, see how the reel's on its side? That way it's resting on one bearing. You're gonna get way farther cast out of it that way. Into gear, and then you make sure you guide the line. This is super important to guide the line, because what happens when you get too excited, when you get a bite and then you pile all the line up on itself like I'm doing right now, when I go to cast the next time, all that line piled up on one side, it's gonna backlash, I promise you. Watch, this will backlash because I didn't guide the line. You do not want to backlash. See, you got a bunch of loose line in there. Now we got to pick out the loose line, and that's simply because I didn't guide it right. Now, when you're fishing the surface iron and you get a bite, that you're going to be cranking it in at a slow to medium speed. If I feel the fish hit it, do I swing? Absolutely not. When you feel that bite, you grind a little bit faster, and I'm going to show you why. Okay, as we get the lure in here, here's what happens. This lure is going through the water and it's kicking beautiful. 9 out of 10 times that fish is going to come up and grab it in the middle and do what we call dog boning, and then he starts to swim, and you jerk it right out of his mouth. But if you continue to wind, when you feel a little pressure on the lure, you wind and you wind those hooks right into the fish's face. That is what we call a hookup. I don't ever stop winding until the line starts to go out of my reel the opposite direction. When I'm winding and the line starts to go that way, I know I hooked them, but I definitely am not going to swing. One more cast. Woo! All right, gang, thanks for joining us today. Listen, subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm putting a new video out every Tuesday. Not so much you don't get to watch us catching fish, because there's plenty of videos of people catching fish. If that's what you're into, you're not going to get that here. What we do is teach you how to be the guy that catches the fish. If you want to see videos of me catching fish and that's all you want to see, I think there's plenty of spots where you can go watch guys catch fish. All I try to do is make it so that you can be successful when you go out fishing, so that you get those pictures of all those fish when you go fishing. Go to yoursaltwaterguide.com if you don't want to suck at fishing anymore. Subscribe to my channel here at YouTube. Thanks for joining us today.